Welcome back again to another learning video. Today, we are diving into a service that honestly saves developers from so many headaches, Amazon Cognito. If you have ever had the thought of adding a user login to your app, you're going to want to stick around for this one.
So, picture this. You're building the next great application. You need people to sign up, log in, maybe reset a forgotten password. Sounds easy, right? Wrong. The moment you start, you're falling down a rabbit hole of password hashing, secure session management, and trying to defend against a million different kinds of cyber threats. It is ridiculously complex, it takes forever, and if you get it wrong, well, that's a nightmare you don't want to live through.
All right, so here's our game plan. We'll start by really digging into that authentication headache. Then we'll introduce Cognito as the cure. We'll break down how it actually works under the hood, check out some real-world examples, and then, for the grand finale, we'll see how it stacks up against the other big names out there. Okay, so that brings us to the big solution. Instead of trying to build that fortress of security all by yourself, what if you could just, plug one in? A ready-made system that's secure, that scales, that just works. Well, my friends, that is exactly where Amazon Cognito steps in. So what is it really? The official definition is that Amazon Cognito is a fully managed service from AWS that's built to handle everything and anything related to user identity. It's the tool that lets you slap on sign up, sign in, and access control to your apps, like super quickly and easily. You know what? Here's the simplest way to think about it, and if you remember just one thing, make it this. Cognito is basically authentication as a service. It does all the heavy lifting, all the complicated security stuff, so you can get back to what's important, building the cool features that make your app unique. All right, so how does the magic really happen? We're going to pop the hood. Cognito is really made of two key parts that work together. And trust me, understanding the difference between these two is the secret to unlocking everything Cognito can do. So to really get Cognito, you have to know its two main players. On one hand, you've got user pools. Think of this as the bouncer at the front door. It's your user directory, and its job is authentication. It asks the question, who are you? On the other hand, you have identity pools. Think of these as the VIP wristband you get once you're inside. Their job is authorization. They answer the question, okay, now that you're in, what are you allowed to do? By giving you temporary access to other AWS services.
Let's go a little deeper on user pools. This is your user management engine on steroids. It's where you store user profiles, it handles all the sign up and sign in logic, it lets you easily add security layers like multi-factor authentication, and it even lets your users log in with their Google or Apple accounts. It then hands out these things called JSON Web Tokens or JWTs, which are basically a digital ID card proving the user is who they say they are.
And that's when identity pools take over. They act like a secure broker. Once a user is proven to be legit by the user pool, the identity pool can trade that identity for a set of temporary, limited power AWS keys. And this is where it gets really powerful. It means your user can, say, upload a profile picture directly to an S3 bucket, and your own server doesn't even have to be the middleman. It's amazing.
Oh, and get this. For all the developers out there who absolutely hate building front-end login forms, and let's be honest, that's most of us, Cognito has a hosted UI. It's literally a pre-built, customizable sign-in page that you can get up and running in just a few minutes, no front-end coding required. So let's just step back and see how this all comes together. What you get is a complete security toolkit. You've got your standard email and password sign-in, of course, but then you can easily layer on multi-factor authentication. You can add social logins with a few clicks. You can even plug into huge corporate systems for single sign-on, or SSO, and it secures all your APIs with those tokens we talked about. It's the whole shebang.
Okay, enough theory. That all sounds great, but where does the rubber meet the road? Let's talk about some real-world patterns where Cognito is the absolute star of the show.
Now this right here is a classic, one of the most popular ways to use Cognito. First, your user logs in with the user pool and gets that token. Think of it as their digital passport for your app. Then, when they try to call your backend API, bam! Amazon API Gateway steps in like a security guard. It uses a built-in Cognito feature to check if that passport is valid. And only if it gets the green light does it let the request through to trigger your AWS Lambda function. It's secure, it's scalable, and you don't have to manage a single server.
And its usefulness does not stop there, not by a long shot. Cognito is the authentication backbone for tons of modern web apps, built with things like React, as well as native iOS and Android apps.
It's the perfect tool for adding that simple login with Google button we all love. For business-to-business apps, it plugs right into corporate systems like Azure AD or Okta. And like we talked about, it's the best way to securely hand out temporary keys for things like file uploads. So, Cognito is obviously super powerful. But let's be real, it's not the only identity service out there. So how does it actually fit into the bigger picture? Let's put it head-to-head with the competition. So when you lay it all out like this, a really clear story starts to form. Now, services like Auth0 and Firebase Auth are fantastic, make no mistake, but Cognito has two superpowers. Its cost, which is incredibly cheap, especially when you scale up, and its integration with the rest of AWS, which is just seamless. It's second to none. If you're building on AWS, Cognito just feels like it belongs.
So let's boil it all down. When should you reach for Cognito? Well, if you're already in the AWS world, it's pretty much a no-brainer. If you need that super tight integration with things like API Gateway, it was literally designed for that. If you're worried about your bill as you get millions of users, Cognito's pricing is going to make you very happy. It's the go-to choice.
And that really brings us to the final thought here. Building authentication from scratch is, for most of us, a solved problem. Why would you reinvent that wheel when you can leverage a powerful, secure service like Cognito? It frees you and your team up to focus on what actually makes your application special. So the real question to ask yourself is this: could this be the missing piece for your next big idea? Hey, thanks so much for watching this explainer on Amazon Cognito. If this was helpful, or if you've actually used Cognito in your own projects, please drop a comment in the comment box below. We'd seriously love to hear about your experience. And of course, don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the tech that powers our world. We'll see you in the next one.